Yes,
Do we want to record this?
it's being recorded.
It is recording.
Oh, good. Great. Awesome. Cool. Well, welcome to what we affectionately call ComDev Orbits. This team has been, I would say, crushing it all year, considering 2020 has been quite the interesting year. We're going to introduce a mental model for where we are now and what's sort of happening around us. And we like to call this Orbits because Tim loves acronyms, but I'm not going to put it on the slide. You could call it Operation Remote, Building Independent Teams, if you really like them. And now it's recorded. So anyway, little level setting. We wanted to recap, right? What is our current mission? And we kind of want to talk about what that looks like. And then we want to talk about where we're going. And so our current mission is to incubate our most valuable and engaged community stakeholders by bootstrapping funds and operational support, right? And so we do that through educating the community and contributors on MakerDAO and the protocol through community-generated resources. Think of our portal, right? Community-development. Someone can drop the link so I don't have to say it every time. But through these other missions, we also identify talent and community needs. We onboard engaged contributors and maintainers who are interested in the management and growth of MakerDAO, especially the management and growth of MakerDAO and the Maker protocol that underpins everything. And then we incentivize highly valuable work through our grants funding structure. That looks like this, right? Currently, we are supported a lot by the Maker Foundation. You can see these green circles surrounding the big pulsing green orb of protocol community. You can think governance, but there's other teams there, right? And then that's this thing here. And then surrounding this green orb is this yellow orb. That's ComDev, that's us, right? That's the community contributing team, proto-domain teams, other contributors. Outside of it, sort of lighter yellow, is the larger ecosystem. That could be business partners, that could be development teams, casual DAI users, a lot of Reddit and forum people who just come in randomly. And then outside of there, this entire white space where this orb is the uninitiated. Those are people who are potential users, emerging markets, educators, old Web 2 styles, greater finance. And through talking through this vision, you might have seen it on a governance call. Amy presented it, she brought it to us. We kind of realized over the past month or so that we have a direction to this vision, which is scaling towards that big green orb in the center, right? We're all scaling towards that protocol community. And so the reason that's important to introduce is because that image isn't going to last forever. What's happening in MakerDAO is that the DAO is maturing. You can see this if you go to forum.makerdao.com. The protocol is at the center, right? It powers everything. It's this agnostic magical money robot. But surrounding that protocol, people have to manage it, right? It is truly a DAO, right? And so the foundation will repurpose. And we think right now, and this presentation is open to your feedback, of course, that this looks like this. Notice there's no longer the MakerDAO like circles crossing different orbits. There's now the big green orb at the center with protocol community, domain teams right in the center of it. And then there's this orbit of community contributors, right? Some of them could be groups of people. Some of them can be individuals, but you can still see that same structure and that same direction. Everybody comes from the outside and goes in. Now, that doesn't mean you only go in one way. You can come in and leave. There's a lot more freedom in this idea and this model, but this is basically the way that it goes. So you can think of it as a solar system. That's why we like orbits. You could also think of it as an atom if you really want to, but at least the mental model is there, right? And so the vision for this is that we imagine a team where anyone can contribute anything incredibly easily, right? Because processes are documented. Decision-making is transparent. There's no one person deciding everything. We decide things as a group, a DAO, right? We're able to weigh decisions, understand the outcome of proposals because we know what we want and we know what we're looking for when it comes to the growth and the health of our community. So in order for us to grow, we're going through this presentation right now to realign on like, how are we going to get there? How are we all going to march towards that center circle? And so we call this vision, if my Figma works, scaling into the future of work. And this epithet or this pithy takeaway is really purposely chosen because we're scaling as individuals. ComDev is scaling as a department. Our processes are scaling as more people come in. The protocol is scaling as it gains users. And it's all into that center thing, making sure the protocol functions and it serves the people that help it and that get served by it. And we call this the future of work because realistically, it's pretty futuristic to get paid by a protocol if you really think about it. So another review, where we are right now is on the left, where we'll be in the future is on the right. So right now we have the incredible, gracious, and wonderful, amazing Amy Jung, who's the head of ComDev. Before that, we had also incredible Richard Brown, who headed up this department, and all roads lead to Amy. But we would like to get to the point where working groups are orbiting that protocol and everybody is just communicating with each other in a more closed and tight loop. And so our mission within this vision is to empower community members to self-organize, to work on impactful projects that benefit MakerDAO and the Maker community, right? As it goes throughout those orbits, we're evaluating the impact. And so we call this a new paradigm, right? Of self-organizing community development, as opposed to where we were all through this entire year. So in this new paradigm, it's very much inspired by Pixar and sort of group organization. You don't have to ask for permission to take responsibility, right? No one's a boss. There's checks and balances. It's a network. There's not this triangular hierarchy. There's no one lone decision maker. Ownership falls on individuals and groups, right? So getting things done, proposing projects, speaking on what you need, it really falls on what impact are you trying to give to everyone else. Obviously, goes without saying, communication is a must in here, and we need space for discourse. Right now, Rocket Chat works, the forum works. We might discover new things, and it's a sort of an open green field, which is pretty cool. We're actually building that future of work together too, which is actually pretty awesome, bullish. And ideally, if we're communicating a lot, conflicts will come up. So we're going to learn how to manage it together. We're all here together to create, execute, and own the work. And so with that, a small team of us came together to deliver objectives based on this vision and this mission and this paradigm. And I'm going to have Anna take over so that I don't spiel too hard.
Sure, I'm happy to. Hey, everyone. So Tim, I'm going to ask you to still click on the slides for me since we're using one presentation. But yeah, so as a small group, as a little background, we came together and we brainstormed a lot on this concept of this mission of empowering people to do meaningful and impactful work that furthers our ecosystem. And the way that we think we can accomplish this is with these objectives over the next 3 to 6 months. And we can move on to the next slide. And these objectives are these 4 on the screen. Number 1 is to create a collaborative environment that reduces friction to participate. And why is that important? Because as we form these networks, these groups and orbits of people, these teams, they need to collaborate within each other, but then also with other teams and domain teams in the future. And the ways that we want to accomplish this is by documenting processes, making things clear, and reducing the friction to participate. So someone who wants to participate and has skills that they want to contribute, they can go and be onboarded and do some work and have tasks. And through those tasks and through the learning things that we have on the portal, they can become part of these orbits and these networks. And the second objective is creating value for the protocol and the Maker ecosystem, which is, like Tim said, it's at the core of everything we do. We're here because of this technology that underlies everything, the protocol and the Maker ecosystem. And we want to exemplify working in a decentralized way. We want to be great at, we want to be able to execute on processes. We want to be able to collaborate in this environment. We want to follow processes that allow everyone to be empowered to make decisions that accomplish this mission. And we want to support global participation. And why is that important? The protocol is decentralized. And so the community that manages this protocol should also be decentralized and global. And so we want to participate. We want people from other languages to participate. We have part of this objective is translating some of our content into various languages, supporting meetups around the world, and then also highlighting this participation. We can go to the next slide. And so who are we doing this for? It's for all of you guys who are in this community, and then everyone who is going to be in this community in the future. So it's anyone who's new to MakerDAO and wants to learn about this system at large in a less technical form. It's people who are familiar with the ecosystem, but are looking for specific answers. Maybe it has to do with grants, or maybe it's about how to get funding for a specific program that they want to create. It's the current contributors and future contributors who are looking to engage with the community. And it's also the domain teams and the domain contributors that are going to be managing the protocol now and in the future. And Amy came up with this amazing visualization, but basically it has to do with, again, scaling. So on a scale of someone who just wants to learn to how much they want to contribute. And yeah, Kevin actually started this, who's not here today, but Kevin came up with this amazing visualization for us in one of the workshops we did in the past. And there's also a scale of someone who's new to someone who's an expert. And if you see, the largest pieces of this puzzle are number 1 and 3, and those are from the previous slide. We can even go back to it. From the previous slide, it's people who are new to MakerDAO and people who are current contributors who are looking for ways to engage in our community. And we can go back to the other visual. So as someone scales in their knowledge, they can also scale in the amount that they can contribute. And we can facilitate that with the processes that we're creating in this group. And so we can go to the next slide. And we also have other types of users, which has to do with the outer ecosystem, and we call them DAI curious. They may know about the ecosystem, but they may have not participated yet. And it's potential governance people who are stakeholders or potential stakeholders who are working in the governance part of this community. And it's potential Vault users who are using the technology and the tools of the protocol. And it's also DAI users who are creating integrations. They're building on top of our tools. They're using DAI for everyday purchases for communities. And then we have 2 types of contributors in our community. We have highly specialized people who can use their skills to help us scale really quickly into some of these processes. And then we also have an incredibly diverse pool of talent who bring fresh perspectives and who help support the programs that we currently have going on. And you're here today because all roads lead to community surrounding this protocol, and participation from everyone in the community is highly encouraged because we are the people who are going to be building these tools and who are building the processes and helping us scale into this future of work. And what's next is, in the small group, we came up with those objectives that we mentioned today. We broke them down into OKRs, and we have key results documented in this link in OKRs that we will drop in the chat. And we encourage people to submit feedback or give us their feedback on if they feel like they can take this action list and execute on it. And we welcome all feedback. And this is the end. OKRs are objectives and key results. Thank you, David.
Will you guys be sharing the OKRs, links to OKRs?
Yeah,
Yes,
so
we're going to drop the, go ahead.
You got it. You got it.
I was just going to say we're going to drop the link in the chat for everyone to take a look at it. And it's very much a work in progress. We're still cleaning it up, and we are welcoming feedback and participation from everyone on these objectives.
Yep. I mean, in true community participation, we want it to be open, and we want people to start to see themselves as possibly contributing or owning any of these objectives. We got a lot of work to do. I'm going to invoke Rich Brown and say there's a fantastic amount of work, and say that that has still continued, which is super exciting. All right. We can stop recording if we want, or we can keep it going, but let's